A 9-point loss for the Suns, who had their big three together to start the game. Didn't finish that way as Devin Booker leaves in the third quarter with some groin tightness. Still no update on that situation. I imagine with a game tomorrow, we should get an update of some sort today. Probably early afternoon. Maybe. No, I'll say this. We go off the air at 10 o'clock. We'll probably get an update at 10:05.
Right. That's
the way it usually works on this time slot.
I'm grimacing. I actually don't want the update because I have a feeling that what the update is going to be.
I'll tell you what, these days updates are making me grimace too.
Oh, wait a second.
Sorry, Jared.
Wait just a minute.
I didn't know you were there.
I didn't know you were in our Twitter mentions.
So, yeah.
Look, regardless of what the news is, the Suns have to figure some things out. And you can no longer, as the Phoenix Suns, after what happened last night with Devin Booker, you can't lean back on when we're healthy, we're formidable. Because the health part of it has been very elusive. The good teams, the championship level teams, are the ones that navigate through the crap and figure out how to win games when they're not at full strength. And I look at what the Orlando Magic are doing, and yeah, they've lost 3 straight now. But that's a young team with really no identity to speak of that is playing without its 2 best players.
Yes.
In Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. And they are competitive nightly and find ways to win games. That's got to be the goal. That's got to be the charge for Mike Budenholzer and this entire team to look themselves in the mirror and look at each other and figure out a way to win games.
I thought it was abundantly clear that when Kevin Durant is not on the court, this team loses confidence, certainly loses its mojo. And the fact that they are in games in the first half, and then as soon as the opposition kind of hits that gas pedal in the third quarter, the Suns they've wilted. And that's why you're 1-9 without Durant. And I just think for whatever reason, other teams are able to overcome the loss of one of their top people. Mm-hmm. Good teams are able to do that. You still have enough confidence and you still know how to play and you still know how to win basketball games. It seems like the Suns, when they're not whole, kind of just chalk it up and say, well, just wait till we're whole. That can't happen now going forward, especially if Book's going to be out for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Because you're floating around a 500 basketball team right now.
Yeah, 14-12 after an 8-1 start.
I mean, they've won 6 of their last 17 games.
It's not great. Here's Kevin Durant talking about the injuries getting in the way of something special.
Yeah, that sucks. We hate that, injuries can get in the way of beautiful basketball, the game of basketball. It's just like you said, that's a part of it, but it's still tough to take. And, so hopefully Book gets better by the hour, and we'll see how he feels the next couple of days and move on from there.
Wouldn't that be refreshing? It was nothing to be concerned about.
Right.
He's fine.
Precautionary.
Yeah.
Responded well to treatment. He's expected to play against Detroit.
Yeah, we don't even get the updates like he'll be out and then back. At this time, it's always the reevaluated. He'll be reevaluated in a couple of weeks.
No!
It usually lines up with the return. The reevaluation timetable usually lines up with the return.
And boy, don't we have experience with that over the last couple of years.
But I'd love to get your perspective too, and we kind of touched on it, and I touched on it during Vinny's view in the 7 o'clock hours, that, that's what you're going to walk away from with this game. That's the game where Devin Booker got hurt, and they can't win unless they're all together, blah, blah, blah. But the ingredients of the game, I thought the Suns started out very, very well. 7-point lead.
An 8-point lead before that. But
8-point lead before that. After that first time out, Indiana kind of made the first adjustment, and they cranked everything up. They cranked up their defensive intensity. They cranked up the physicality. They cranked up open three-point shots, and the Suns never responded. To me, that's inexcusable. When you have that much basketball left in a game, and they didn't really respond to anything that Indiana threw at them. That was just the most discouraging thing for the whole night for me.
Yeah, despite the early leads, I talk about rhythm a lot when it comes to the game of basketball. I think there are some nights where guys are just out of rhythm, and we see this manifest itself with turnovers, and their ball security last night was atrocious. And all turnovers are not created equal. I mean, sometimes, you end up with 16 turnovers, but you watch the game and you're like, they played okay in that regard.
Yeah.
Last night, the turnovers were eyesores, just lazy passes getting tipped and stolen, throwing the ball into the fourth row. So those turnovers, like at the end of the day, 16 is not like we saw a lot worse last year.
We did.
But 10 in the first half. And then when you talk about their rhythm and their willingness to play and their effort level and just how engaged they were in the basketball game, I thought that also manifests itself on your inability to close out on shooters and giving up wide open threes. And I thought they were atrocious in that regard last night as well. So you have a team that's throwing the basketball all over the gym and not closing out on 3-point shooters. And that's how you give up 60 in the first half, and you follow that up by giving up 37 in the third.
Yeah, the flashback nature of that performance, too, from the turnovers was something that stuck with me as well, because that looked a lot like last year. And when you go out and you acquire Tyus Jones and Monte Morris, and neither one of those, and I think Monte actually had a rough night, first rough night he's had in a while, although the turnover numbers were not atrocious. But, again, the reliance on others, even with traditional point guards, to initiate offense, set up possessions, that's usually where you get into trouble. And it was a step way back, and Kevin Durant, to his credit, said, I can't have 5 turnovers.
He owned it.
That's on me. But I talked so much last year with Bick about, and turnovers were an issue for a huge part for most of the year. And it just seemed like number one item on the scouting report defensively for anybody who was playing the Suns was get up into the passing lanes. Make them make a decision, because they're going to be sloppy with the basketball.
And that was supposed to be fixed with the point guard.
That's exactly what it looked like last night.
But if Kevin Durant continues to play point guard and initiate the offense, that's where I think
that's what's going to happen.
I mean, listen, there's not a whole lot to criticize Kevin Durant for. I mean, even he started shooting the ball a little bit slowly last night. He ended up 15 for 27, 37 points, 10 rebounds, all on the defensive glass, mind you. But again, yeah, when KD and Booker's like this too. I mean, we've seen enough. They're a little loose with the basketball when they're handling it between the circles. And I just and KD knows it. He talked about it after the game. He owned it. You can't do that.
And I think Yusuf Nurkic gets cursed by the fact that as a big, he is a very good passer as a big, but he's too overconfident as a passer. Not every pass is going to get there just because it's coming from your hand.
He believes he can thread the needle all the time.
Yes.
It's a blessing and a curse, because sometimes he does thread the needle.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.